Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Boom! What is going on YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you guys for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today is my coverage of KON V. If you guys don't know what that is, it is one of the bigger and best shows here on the Northeast. One of my favorite shows of the year to boot. This year, I was actually setting up as a dealer at the show for the first time. But before we get started in the video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button. Do me a favor, smash the like button for me because it really does help the channel out. And I always want to remind you guys, I have merch for sale. Check out the links in the description of every video. You won't regret it. With that said, let me show you the show floor, but I want to remind you to stick around for afterwards because I have a bunch of stuff I have to get off my chest. So that's it for the show floor. I do want to let you guys know I did film this video very early on in the show. It was still a VIP hour, so not everybody was allowed in at the time of filming. With that said, I'm going to let you guys know again that this is one of my favorite shows of the year. Not only because of the books that they always have there, the dealers that set up, but most importantly, it is a lot of Instagram and YouTube people that I am very familiar with. People come to say hi, tell me they love the channel, people that love all I do for the community, stuff like that. So it is absolutely my favorite show. With that said, there are a lot of things I think we need to talk about, a lot of things that I noticed about the show and shows in general right now. I was set up with a buddy of mine, Silver Age Spidey Classics. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to the show, so I was with his brother. I was able to sell a bunch of books at the show, which is absolutely great. But there were a bunch of dealers who told me that they didn't have as good of luck as they had in the past, probably because it was a one-day show instead of a two-day show. Regardless, I don't think it had anything to do with that. The big thing that I've noticed about shows lately is that collectors are getting more savvy. I think a lot of the dub money has left the hobby. Back in 2020, 2021, 2022, a lot of collectors who really didn't love comics in general or characters they collect, they have gone away, right? We don't have those collectors in this hobby anymore. We're stuck with a lot of collectors, and I shouldn't stay stuck. That's not the words I want to use. We are now a hobby full of collectors that know what they're doing, and I'm proud of you guys. I will say that. On the dealer side of things, if you guys are not giving deals on books, people know GPA right now. People know what the last sales are. People are trying to get deals left and right. If you are not giving deals, you are not selling a book. That's the first thing that I noticed. The next thing is, if you are not selling keys, you are not selling a book. With that said, there's still a ton of people out there looking through the bins, looking for dollar books, looking for $5 books. That stuff will always be around. But on your wall books, tell you right now, if you're overpriced, they are not moving. For me, I think I price my books right around where they should be, maybe a little high, and what I usually do is I discount heavily when I get an offer, right? I had a bunch of people offer me ridiculous offers. I had some great offers, and I kind of met in the middle. I've gotten $100 off $500 books, stuff like that. So I was definitely giving deals out at KON V. So I think from a dealer's perspective, it was to each his own. If you're willing to move books, you will sell them. If you're not and you're firming your price, or you're overpriced over that 90-day, over that last sale, I heard from a bunch of dealers that did not move a lot of books. With that said, as I stated before, if you're not selling keys and you're just trying to move higher priced issues, it is really hard to move comics right now. All right, so that's it from the dealer's perspective. For me, as a comic book collector and a fan, I want to say they had a ton of great books there and a bunch of awesome dealers. Very Gary, Erod, the Pressable Defects were there. Comics Curing Cancer and my boy DJ Lynx was there. Who else was there? Jim from Bronzeville Comics was there, setting up, selling books, Absolute Comics, and the list goes on and on and on. A ton of great guys were there. Millhouse Comics was there. A bunch of people I know from this community were set up in King Khan, and it was an absolute blast. I did not buy any books because you guys know I'm trying to pare down my collection, and it was really hard not to go ahead and buy some of these books that were there. There were some really great deals that could be had. My boy Zenitram was there, and he left with a stack of keys that he got for some ridiculous prices. I'm talking $20 for some really great books each. So kudos to you, brother. You did an awesome job. And there were guys who really wanted to sell books that were giving books away. That's why I actually like this con. So with that said, another thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, after speaking to a bunch of other dealers, I had asked them, what are you moving, right? And I'm not talking about the dollar bin books or the bins that are on the table and your wall books. What are you moving? I asked a specific question. Are you selling slabs? Are you selling raws? Or is it about even? From all the dealers that I talked to, none of the slabs were moving. I myself, I did not sell one slab at this show. I talked to another dealer that was there. He did not sell one slab at this show. So I want to hear from everyone out there who was at King Khan. Did you buy a slab at the show? If you're a dealer watching this channel right now, did you sell any slabs at the show? And I thought to myself after hearing this and after realizing this is that I know what people are doing. If people want to buy a slab, they're actually looking at the book itself and checking to see if it has bump potential. And that's the only reason they're buying it. For me, you guys know I've had a couple of raw books that I cracked out of slabs, and I always keep the CGC label in the back of the book. And I've had a bunch of people actually ask to take a look at this book, and once they realize that it was cracked out of a CGC slab, they are no longer interested because they do not think it is going to get a bump. That's the first thing. The other thing is people like to buy raw and submit their books themselves, right? They want to see if they can get a deal on a raw book as opposed to a slab. And I say I cannot blame them. That is the way it should be done. I've been saying it for the past couple of years that CGC, CBCS, and all other slabs right now are in a decline. So if you're a buyer of slabs, tell me what your idea is. Are you guys buying them just to crack and resubmit? Are you holding on to them? I really want to hear what you guys out there in the community have to say about this topic. It is really important right now in our hobby because as the collectors are buying right now, they're doing their due diligence, and I'm happy for them. I will say that. As a seller, it's not always the greatest thing, but thank God I am not a consistent seller. But I will always go to King Kon because I will always have a great time because I love talking to everyone out there. I saw a ton of people from the community. I'm going to try to give everyone that I remember was there a shout out. I'm talking about my boy Chef. I'm talking about my boy Dylan. You know who you are, buddy. Congratulations on that. Who else was there? The Comic-Con podcast was there setting up. Who else did I speak to there? I saw Jim from Bronzeville Comics. I mentioned him before. Wobbly's Comic Stash was there over on IG. My boy Dario at Herald Comics was there. We were talking for a while. I mentioned Zenitram Comics. Got a ton of deals as well. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of names out there. Of course, the Pressable Defects are there. I'm friends with Jay over there. Such a great guy. Matty Forge as well. Just a blast. If you are in the Northeast, you have to go to the show just to kind of hang out. I know a bunch of people who didn't buy too many books, but they were just going around talking to everybody. And if you're looking to have a good time and you like talking comics and you like talking comic prices or just anything along those lines collectible, you will have a blast. Lastly, I want to thank Greg for setting up this show. I think his Instagram handle is MTG Comics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he always does a fabulous job at setting up this con, and I really appreciate him having me there as well. So with that said, I always have a blast at this show. I hope they do it again in the same spot because it was a different spot from years past, a lot bigger space, definitely felt more comfortable, people could move around. So Greg, if you're listening and watching, I'd love to have it at the same place, but I'm not the only guy out there. So with that said, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.